Episode 3, The Lantern Bearer's Warning. By the next night, the market felt closer, as if its streets had crept a little into the waking world. Liora could still smell incense on her coat in Aunt Faye's kitchen. When she blinked too long, the pattern of the tiles became a map she almost recognized. She told herself not to return. She returned. Lanterns drifted above the thoroughfare like tethered stars. Music stitched alleys together, and from somewhere unseen came the steady hush of a sea that did not exist. Liora moved with the crowd, Elias at her shoulder, the coin against her palm growing alternately light and heavy, as though breathing. She noticed it because everything else glowed warm. One lantern burned cold. Its light was pale as frost smoke, its glass filled with a slow storm of ash and color. People stepped aside without looking up, the way one avoids the edge of a well at night. Beneath it walked a tall figure in crimson robes, a staff in one hand, the strange lantern mounted at its tip, the lantern bearer. Elias's fingers tightened on Leora's sleeve. "Keep your head down." But Liora had already looked. The bearer's hidden gaze met hers across the moving crowd, and the market stilled. No sound, no jostle, as if the scene were a painting she'd stepped into. He lifted the staff. The smoke inside the glass swirled, gathered, formed a bird of soot and light. It beat its wings twice and fell apart into a drift of sparks. The bearer's voice carried as if spoken beside her ear and from the far end of the world. "To those who wander, beware the cost of illumination." The words touched her like cold rain. Then noise flooded back. Hawkers called. Coins clinked. A string instrument laughed. Leora's breath rushed out in a white-hot thread, and only then did she realize the coin in her hand burned. She hissed and dropped it into her pocket. The heat did not fade. It simply nested there, impatient as a heart. "What did he mean?" she asked, not trusting her voice to reach above the market without breaking. Elias steered her into a side lane where the air smelled of tea and wet rope. "He meant that truth here has a price," he said. "Sometimes the price of seeing is being seen." "He looked at me," Liora said. "I saw," Elias replied, and for the first time since she'd met him, fear uncloaked itself on his face. "He doesn't waste warnings." They walked. The market rearranged its shelves of wonders. A woman sold maps that drew themselves and erased themselves. A boy balanced a tray of pastries that steamed with violet fire. A stall offered small knives that cut nothing and left wounds anyway. Liora's name seemed to whisper in the seams of things, not loud enough to accuse, only loud enough to promise. At a quiet threshold where two alleys kissed, a bell rang. One note, deep as a well. The coin went weightless, so suddenly she staggered. Elias caught her elbow. "Sometimes," he said low, "the market chooses a person to carry something it wants kept safe." "Like a message?" she asked. "Or a key?" Elias didn't answer. He didn't have to. The coin was hot again, and through the heat she thought she felt a pulse that was not hers. They turned back toward a livelier street, but Liora kept glancing up. The bearer had disappeared, and yet the cold lantern glow seemed to linger at the corner of her vision, like the after-image of a warning she could not unsee. The cost of illumination, she thought. If she kept walking, she'd learn it. If she stopped, the market would teach it anyway.